My name's Pat Dudgeon. My people are the Bardi people from the Kimberley. I'm a professor at the School of Indigenous Studies at the University of Western Australia. First of all, welcome to the Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander Suicide Prevention Evaluation Project video resource page, so welcome everyone. We've created this web page because we understand that some people have come looking for help to our website, so we felt that it was really useful for us to give some tips on what to do when you're confronted either with people who are thinking of taking their own lives or who have done that. This is only the tip of the iceberg, it's only a start, but we've gathered together Indigenous psychologists, we've worked to go through a lot of resources, and they're all here for you to look at, and hopefully that will be a start. More needs to be done, but at least we can give people some pointers on where to go in the right direction. And so if you have any more information that you think Indigenous people would find useful, please send it to us. Again, it's only the very start. Okay, the whole Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander Suicide Prevention Evaluation Project is about Indigenous suicide. That's become one of the big issues confronting us in recent decades. So the project was all about that. There's a whole range of different resources, videos, which I'd suggest people to look at, but this particular part of the website focuses on immediate help for anyone who's seeking tips, who's seeking help. Suicide is very difficult. It's a difficult topic to talk about. It's a difficult topic for us to approach. However, there's a lot of good Indigenous initiatives happening out there in the community. I'd like to acknowledge that, and hopefully what we're doing today, what you're seeing today, will strengthen that as well. We know that the Indigenous suicide statistics are a really big concern nowadays. We know that on average we have twice the rates of suicide to other Australians. Then if you break it down by age groups and by location, sometimes that goes right up. So it is a concern. There would be very few people I know who haven't, very few families, and we're talking our extended families, who haven't been affected by suicide. So for us, in this period of time, Indigenous suicide is a very challenging issue. And we hope that together, working together, we will be able to make a difference. Okay, Aboriginal suicide is different to that of other Australians. There's some commonalities, but there also is a big difference, I believe, and many of us who've worked in the area of researching it, that this is a consequence of that story of colonisation, where Aboriginal people have had their rights taken away. They've been denied their cultural rights as well as their human rights, and they've been marginalised. We still have ongoing racism, lack of employment, a lack of access to opportunity, and so on and so on. That results in people being marginalised, but also feeling like second-class citizens. So it's all those stories. It's the great poverty that exists for some of our people in the communities, lack of adequate housing, job opportunities. How can you feel good about yourself? So these are the things that impact on us. It is relatively recent. 60 years ago we were not taking our lives at the rate that we're doing now, and there's different reasons for that. Some researchers say that, you know, with the referendum and with the granting of full rights for Aboriginal people, there was a sense that with native title and a lot of other progressive issues that have happened, that there was an illusion that we were equal Australians, when we know that that's not so, that there's deep entrenched disadvantage and alienation. So on one hand, there's a sense that we should be stepping up to the plate and participating in society, but the reality is there's a lot of barriers that are entrenched and generational that we're dealing with. So I think that the suicides that are happening now, And it's not just suicide. Suicide is the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole lot of self-harm and other issues that are happening for our people, but we are starting to see the consequences of a history of disempowerment and marginalisation. I believe that we will overcome that. I believe that with some of the great programs, some of the great policies that are happening, that we are on the road to a better future. And I don't think I'm being foolishly optimistic, but we need to deal with this now and do what we can to turn things around from a broad sense. So it's not just about health, mental health or social emotional well-being, it's about everything, you know, our connections and rights to land, culture, political representation, and it goes along every facet of life. I think there are great challenges ahead, but I think we see great initiatives in the policies, some of the policies that are coming out, some of the fantastic Aboriginal controlled, community controlled services, some of the paradigm shifts that are happening. I believe that we will address the challenges and we will go on to have a different shared society, but meanwhile we are in this situation and we need to help each other as much as we can. Suicide isn't restricted to any specific group. It's an issue that all Indigenous communities are dealing with and is impacting on them, whether you're in an urban context or remote or a regional context. So it is happening across the board. We've based a lot of our work on the work of people like Professor Michael Chandler in Canada, where they found that communities with low suicide rates or no suicide rates are communities that are doing activities that are about self-determination. So they're claiming back their empowerment. Also, they're doing cultural reclamation activities. So we know already from the international research, but also from our own people, when we conducted a series of national roundtables, that those things are fundamentally important. So long term, that's what we need to work for. We need to work for the self-determination and the cultural reclamation of all our different communities, right across, you know, all the different areas. Suicide is a very difficult and painful topic to discuss. Some people don't like using the term suicide. They'd prefer to use terms like end their life rather than saying that someone committed suicide. And that's okay. I think we need to go with the sensitivity of what individual and family and local communities prefer. We are using the word suicide throughout our website. I think that there is great sensitivity about the whole thought of suicide. It's very confronting. I think some of it is from the past where people thought if you talked about it, maybe you'd put, you know, the thought into people's minds, and we know that isn't true. But I do believe that because it's such a painful and confronting topic, people would like, you know, Aboriginal people do talk about it somewhat differently. In closing, I hope that you have watched this videos and looked at all the resources in this website, have found it useful. Please do get back to us if you already know of a resource that you think will be useful for Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander people. If you've got any advice, please do contact us. And we will be continuing to develop this website, so we hope that it will be of service and use to our community right across the country.